We try to make this radio show interactive, and with the wonderful guests and the very topical and contemporary issues that we have, we would like you to join in. Join us on 87.8 FM or call us on 0116482206. That's our studio number. Or send us a WhatsApp message on 0774 8855 or join us on YouTube or Facebook on Ramadan.fm, and you can actually see the show there and ask questions. Now, as always, we've got some lovely and fantastic guests which we invite today, because the topic we're going to be talking about is, though it is a health show, but we are going to be talking about health professionals coming to the UK. From a doctor's perspective, we call them international medical graduates who come to the UK, work in the NHS or any other services. Now, I'm not going to be spending too much time with you guys hearing my voice, because I do want to introduce my guests, because it's really important to bring them on, get their views, get an understanding of their journey. And my first guest is Dr. Nermeen Ahmed. She's an international medical graduate who came from Egypt last year. Started off with a clinical attachment and subsequently is now working in the NHS. Similarly, we've got Dr. Sanaa Moledina, who again is from Pakistan, from Karachi in Pakistan. She again completed her exams, did a clinical attachment in the UK, and is now working as a doctor, very similar to Dr. Nermeen. So, welcome both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Dr. Latif.
It's lovely to have you guys here, and I hope it's going to be a very rich discussion which will not only give us a good flavor of your journey, but also help other international medical graduates who either would have tuned in and are listening live, or obviously this is going to be a recording which can be post-listened to. They can gain from the experiences that you guys have, the journey that you've gone through. So I'm going to ask you, if that's okay, just give us in a very brief intro about yourself and a little bit about your journey from Egypt to Pakistan, from there to the UK. So Nermeen, let's start with you. Let's have a brief intro of your journey and your challenges.
Well, for me, I graduated in 2019 from Cairo, Egypt, and then I finished my internship here. Throughout that year, I was able to finish my English language test and my PLAT 1 exam. And then I finished my PLAT 2 exam 1 year afterwards and joined the clinical attachment program at NHFT within the NHS. Last year, was successful enough to get a job a few months afterwards as well. And I've been working in the NHS 6 months today.
Fantastic. And it's been a wonderful journey. So it's for you, if there was one challenge, Nermeen, that you would say, you found difficult, what would that be?
For me, I think it would have been COVID, because I had a long set of plans and in a very timely manner, and then COVID hit and all the exam had to be cancelled. I lost a year. As much as almost all the IMG, I believe Sanaa has been affected by that as well. The GMC had to cancel the exams. Nothing was stable. I didn't know when would I be able to continue my journey. I had to make decisions back home about joining residency or just opting out, and it was difficult and very emotional. And I do feel for all the IMGs out there who are still struggling with the GMC having to cancel exams again this year. They had to cancel for the past 2 months. But eventually it works out. It's just not knowing when. That's the hard part.
That's very, very telling and really, really important what you just said there as your last sentence. It's eventually it works out with persistency and consistency. It works out. Thank you, Nermeen, for that. We will be coming back to more questions, and I just want to go over to Sanaa and ask a similar question. Sanaa, so tell us a little bit about Sanaa's journey.
Right. So I graduated in 2018 from Karachi, SMC, and then I did a house job for a year in 2 hospitals, again in Karachi. One was JPMC and one was Abbasi Shahid. So that took a year. During this time, I passed my IELTS exam as well as my PLAB 1. And then came the unfortunate time where the house job was done, but PLAB 2 was cancelled twice actually. Had to wait for a year to come to the UK. finally did that in 2021, Feb. I sat for my PLAB 2 exam, started working as a clinical attaché in the meanwhile, while awaiting for the results of PLAB 2. And then within 3 or 4 months of my clinical attachment, got a job in NHFT. And since then, it's been over a year that I've been working with the trust.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sanaa. Thank you very much for that update. And similar question again to you, Sanaa. So what would you say has been the major challenge? I know COVID, you made something very similar. Is that been similar for you, or do you feel that there's been any other challenge which you've stands out for you?
I think for me, COVID would be the highlight, but it was very different in the sense that all the immigration policies, everything else, totally, completely changed, something that we've never witnessed before. So there was a lot of uncertainty. We were stuck. We were in this limbo. We're done with our things back home, but didn't know where to proceed forward. So I think similar to Nermeen, I think COVID was the thing that really, really stood out in my journey as well as a hindrance.
Okay, yeah. So it seems to be a similar theme, doesn't it, with a lot of people who came during this period. So what do you think? Maybe Sanaa, I can start with you this time. If it wasn't for COVID, what would have been different? Do you think would have been? Would you have faced any different challenges, or do you think it would have been a more smoother ride for you? Sanaa?
I think it definitely would have been a smoother ride, but there are a few things that are difficult for IMGs, regardless of, the pandemic and all of that. And I think that is the uprooting. So you leave your country, you leave all the people you know, everything that's familiar, you come to a totally different place, a totally different system, a totally different way of practicing. You need to get acclimatized to this new environment and the protocols and the guidelines and everything else. I think that is something that, again, proves to be something difficult, the uprooting, the cultural shift of things. So yeah, that was another thing, getting settled into a completely different system of practice.
Yeah, we will come more into that, because that's really important, isn't it, Sanaa? As you would see, because for our listeners out there, it would be extremely prudent that we do discuss and learn from your experience. Nermeen, what about yourself? What do you feel would have been different? If it wasn't for COVID, how would have things been different for you?
I think things would have been faster. There are some challenges that we would have still faced despite of COVID. At the time when I was doing my English language test and then PLAB 2, I had to maintain a full-time job finishing my internship and studying at the same time, which was very difficult because nothing is stable. You have an exam and you have a deadline for the exam. So you're trying to race, doing all the studies that you need to do, but you're also doing your job, trying to be safe and maintain patient safety and provide a good service, which was very challenging. And I believe everyone has to do it. This is not a 99% of all of us. This is 100% of everyone who's trying to come to the UK. They have to make that balance. And it's very difficult, quite emotional, and it takes a lot of effort.
So. Well said, Nermeen. Very solid it is. I'm sure it must be it's going to be draining for you. Okay, now I'm going to start off by asking you a little bit more personal questions. Not intrusive, but personal questions, if you like. And Nermeen, let's start with you. So tell us a little bit about, you're in medical school, you're coming to the end of your final year, you're doing your exams. Number one, when and why did you decide to come to the UK? Because if you can answer that question in the context for our listeners to understand, because obviously a lot of them make the choice between either staying home, going to the US, UK, Australia, or anywhere else around the world. So what made you choose to come to the UK?
I think it was my second month during my internship here, because you rotate every 2 months within different departments. So you kind of get a sense of what the practice is like, what knowledge do you need to know, and what you need to provide into the job. And I think around that time, I decided that work-life balance was not going to be achieved back home. I used to see the residents around, how demanding their job was, how much effort and time they had to do and put into the job. losing touch sometime even with their family, having to work for 24, 48, or even 72 hours in a row and expected to maintain that same standard of service. I didn't see myself doing that. And at the time, I had friends who've come here, worked here, and I got to hear feedback from them about how things work here, how the NHS actually supports the staff, not just the medical staff, everyone. That we do provide service to the whole nation 24/7, but no one is expected to work 24 hours on their own, or even more than that. Our safety is as equal and as important as it is the patient's safety as well. And that's something I felt like I needed. And this is why I don't think I hesitated long enough to make the decision, go for the exams, and just let the pathway begin.
Okay, thank you, Nermeen. That's really helpful. I'm going to ask the same question to Sanaa, to yourself. So, when did you feel that? Before I go to Sanaa, we seem to, and Nermeen, we seem to have a question which has come up, and let's ask like this. I wanted to ask if there's any guidance regarding changing the journey from US to UK. So, for example, if I have done my steps, except step 2, CS, how do I apply for GMC registration? So Sanaa or Nermeen, any of you want to respond to that?
I think I kind of know the answer because a bit of a change happened last year when COVID got cancelled, and the GMC opened like an extra pathway for USMLE medical students who've actually finished their exams to join the GMC and get the register here. All of them had to finish step 1 and step 2, including the CS, at least since March 2019, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. But unfortunately, the CS has been cancelled for almost a year now. So they would still have to go back to the GMC, email them, and ask them what requirements they would need to do. But there is a pathway for them to join the GMC register using the USMLE steps, but they would need the information from the GMC.
Thank you, Nermeen. That's really helpful. And Sanaa, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think she answered it perfectly, and it's correct. You need to pass all your exams before you can come to the GMC pathway.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. So a very pertinent question, and I hope it answers the question for the person who's asked the question. So now let's go to you, and let's ask you the same question that I asked Nermeen earlier on.
Yeah, so I decided. So I knew I didn't want to continue in Pakistan, but whether US or UK, like that sort of a thing. I sort of got my answer sometime during my house job period. The reasons behind that was that the first thing was I wanted to do psychiatry. And as sad it is, as unfortunate it is, I thought that what I felt was that psychiatry wasn't being practiced in the best manner back home. I felt like we didn't have that MDT sort of an approach. It just wasn't and we didn't have all these subspecialties. I couldn't have a flavor of all of those. I thought I was missing a lot as a junior doctor, and I thought that the UK could give me exposure to everything. So that is one reason. The other thing was that I did not like the hierarchical system of practice back home. I did not like it was the lack of support that the trainees face is something that wasn't a good thing for me. I wanted to be in an environment where I was being supported, supervised, helped. There was somebody, looking after me and teaching me, along the way. So for increased supervision and a better quality of training, I decided to come to the UK.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Sanaa. And just a reminder to our listeners, please do call in. This show is, as some of you are already, we've got a number of listeners at the moment. So thank you very much for tuning in to all of them. And I just want to remind people to, please do call in. Either visit Ramadan FM 87.7, either on Facebook or YouTube, or you can call in at the studio on 0116 482 206. That's 482206. Or send a WhatsApp message on 077 488 55055. So yes, keep the questions coming, because we've got two, if you like, people who have lived the experience, and they are expert IMGs. And I can tell you for a fact that not only have they, it's kind of them to spare the time to come on, but they do help and assist. And I know that for a fact that they've helped a lot of IMGs who are coming to the UK as we speak. Okay, so Sanaa, next question to you again. And I want to ask you that, okay, I know that you will be, yourself and Nermeen will be running webinars on these topics, which we will be sharing. But I just want to ask you, and I suppose this is really important. You pass your PLAB, you come to the UK, and you seek your first job. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go a little back. So basically, to pass your PLAB 1, your PLAB 2, before your PLAB 1, you have to do either your IELTS or your OET. You do that, you do your PLAB 1, you do your PLAB 2, and then you come to the UK. And after that, what I did was that I secured a clinical attachment. What does the clinical attachment do is it gives you an exposure to the way the NHS works, what the system over here is like, whether the system is for you, and also it just is a very good thing to have on your CV. So I did that, and then after having done my clinical attachment and after having passed PLAB 2, you sort of make a portfolio, start applying for jobs, and once you do that, then you get interviews, you sit for the interviews, and then you end up getting a job. So that's basically how it works.
Brilliant. So very succinctly put. Thank you very much for that, Sanaa. And I'm going to ask the same question to you, Nermeen. You've come to the UK, or you're in the process. So tell us a little bit about your journey and your experience, and what you would advise. Because remember, the discussion we're having today is basically giving your experience and how you can advise hundreds of IMGs who come to the UK every week, every month, So from your perspective, Nermeen, what's your take-home message for IMGs, international medical graduates? Give us your experience.
As Sanaa mentioned, that is the process that we all have to go through, finishing the exams and then starting to apply for the jobs. And I think the hard part about this process is even before you start applying for the jobs, you're seeing the struggle of other IMGs who apply for jobs and then they automatically get, you've been rejected for this post, we're sorry, we're not able to shortlist you. And you start to question, by the time I'm done, would I be able to get a job? Why are people being rejected, especially when the UK is in desperate need of doctors here to cover all the jobs and the tasks that are required? And I think that was the question that I started thinking of as soon as COVID hit and I couldn't do my PLAB 2 in time. And then that question was added to another question is, when am I going to sit my exam? And I did as Sanaa did. I tried to seek a clinical attachment for two purposes. One, boost my CV, because I believe it would have put more score on my application when I do apply for jobs. And second thing is, coming to the UK and coming to the NHS, it's a completely different system. And there is this shock when you're coming from your own system, the way you practice and the way you provide the service, and to a new service, new system, even it's a new country completely. And if you don't, I believe myself, like if you don't kind of try to decrease that fraction, get a good idea about what the system is like, you're going to struggle even more knowing what jobs to apply to, what level would be efficient enough according to your standards, according to your qualification and the practice that you used to do back home, because this is the thing that you'll have to rely on. Funny enough for me, I used to do cardiology back home, and now I'm actually working in psych. And this is why when I applied for the attachment, I tried to go for psych because I had interest in psych in a long time. Back home, I didn't know if I would be able to practice it the way I was hoping for and provide the service I thought people needed. And at the same time, I still had a little bit of love for medicine, and I wanted to make a decision and be confident in it. And trying to see how the system run in the specialty that I wanted to do for life, it gained me two things. Now I know the system. I know how things work, even if I was just seeing it from the outside and I wasn't physically doing the job. And I got confirmed about this is the specialty I want to do. And I think that's a bit of a question that people even struggle with back home. Do I need to keep the same specialty that I worked home back in, or is it safe for me to make that change? Can I do that change? And yes, you can make that change. You can work on your CV back home to boost you to get a job here, but the final decision about maintaining the specialty or going for something else, that's yours. So I always advise my friends and everyone who gets in touch with me is like, try to get a clinical attachment somewhere, get to know the system, break that ice. All the anxiety and the questions that are running at the back of your head, they will calm down. You will get the answers that you need. and you'll get it firsthand experience. It's not like me advising you about my own experience. You'll get information, but it's completely different when you do it yourself. And that kind of eases things for people. And it makes it even a little bit harsh, like a little less harsh, when you do get that rejection email that you've did something, you've worked on yourself, you know the system, and at some point you will get that advantage to get the job that you need.
Excellent. Thank you, Nermeen. Again, very comprehensively suggested. I'm going to just stay with Nermeen for the moment and ask the next question. And that is a little bit similar to or linked to this current job. So what does the NHS have to offer that lacks back home? I know some of you have, both of you have highlighted on this, and I know experience and certain subspecialities and structure but is there anything else, Nermeen, that you feel that since you've come here, it's come a bit as a pleasant surprise, positive surprise for you, that, you know, it's offered you something? Again, this is a take-home message. This is something for our listeners who intend to come to the UK or are in the process of giving their PLAB 2, which is the license, which is the examination that doctors do give in order to receive the license and practice in the UK. So what do you think? What has the NHS offered you?
I think the NHS indirectly actually offered me a higher level of satisfaction about the work that I do because of the service it provides to the patients. Back home and everywhere, I think all doctors do aspire to a higher level of standards of practice, maintaining patient safety and being as professional as possible. And when you have the resources to actually put your work in place and make sure that the patients at the receiving end of your service gets the best quality of care that they do need, you feel that whatever input and whatever effort that you're going to put is going to be rewarding at any level. It's not just what would I directly get, it's what satisfaction that I would get just doing the job right and having the right resources for the patients. As Sanaa mentioned, we all aspire for career development. Even myself, within the NHS for the past 6 months, I've changed, not just professionally, but even personally. Every patient that you would see, every person that you would work with, they add to me and I've added to them, or at least I hope I did. And that's something that you don't get quite often doing different jobs. At least I didn't have that experience in the past. And I think that's the most thing that I'm actually happy for, that I got to live this experience and gain this.
Excellent. Thank you, Nermeen, for the very comprehensive response. Sanaa, same question to you. So what is it that you feel that the NHS has given you? What are some of the positives that you feel? I know you've touched on some of them already, but is there anything in addition to that?
I think let's start from this place. Most of the IMGs are reluctant to come to the UK because they think that the practice is very strict here, that they are like, if they do something wrong, what's going to happen? There's going to be a lawsuit, there's a lot of myths around it. But to be very honest with you, Dr. Shahid, I've never, ever felt this supported. Like, I know that, we work in such a conducive and supportive environment that I know that I always have a team at the back of, having my back. So the level of support you feel over here while practicing is amazing. Clinically, that's something that stands out for me. The other thing is that over here, you would always have someone who takes ownership of you. So basically, you are assigned a clinical supervisor and an academic supervisor, depending on the role you're in. This is a person you can you can reach out to, whether you are having any problems in terms of your rota, or you're struggling academically, there's something else going on in your personal life, whatever is it. These people are there to help you and guide you through things. So that's another thing. I've touched upon it and just want to speak about it again. The MDT approach of things. You as a doctor, you're not working alone. A doctor is working in liaison with a dietitian, an occupational therapist, a psychologist. Like, we're working as a team. So this is something that's very beneficial, because the responsibility is not just onto you, A. B, you get to learn so much from those other specialties that you interact with. That was clinically. Academically, I think I've again grown. You have this area over here where you can sort of do audits, you could do researches. There's like a lot of resources available, there are people available, there are departments where you can go and reach out to if you want to, interested in these sort of projects. I individually, I'm very, like, innovative. I like to like do things and make things easier, in my workplace. So they're always happy to accommodate those things. You can bring changes, they would appreciate that. You want to do something differently, they will let you do that. So it is working in the NHS, like Nermeen said, doesn't only help you clinically, it helps you grow as an individual. So I think it's so much better like that.
Thank you, Sanaa. Thank you for that very comprehensive and open and candid account of your experience. I'm going to again stay with Sanaa on this occasion. And Sanaa, just tell us a little bit about, now this is slightly outside of working in the NHS or working as a doctor or a healthcare professional, because although we are talking about doctors, I mean, this is pertaining also all healthcare professionals, isn't it? Because it is an environment which people work in, whether it's in the NHS or any private setting. I'm going to slightly go outside of the realms of medicine or psychiatry or training, and I'm going to ask you, tell us a little bit about your experience of the British culture. What is it that you've come into, and what to give us your experience? I'm not going to say what do you like or dislike about it, because that might be a bit more political. But obviously you've come here, you've liked it here, and you've still settled down, as I'm aware that you have. So tell us your views about the whole setup and the culture, the British culture, not the NHS culture, but the British culture.
In a line, I absolutely love it. I love it. I think people here are very open, very warm, very welcoming. I do understand that back home, people have this opinion that, you might not be welcomed the way you want to, but I personally have not had an issue like that. Like I said, came over here during peak COVID, never traveled before. There were people who made sure that I was guided through every single thing. And so I think people over here are very open, very welcoming, very friendly. Yeah, it's like you feel accepted. It's a very diverse culture. So yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely loving it and enjoying it.
So that's good. So that's good brownie points for the UK culture. Sanaa absolutely loves it, which is fantastic. And that's really fantastic to hear. And again, excellent for our potential IMGs who want to come in, and those who are in the process to get a better feel of what, despite the challenges, all the positive. Nermeen, I'm going to ask you the same question, but before I do, again, I'm just going to remind our listeners that we want questions to come in. That's what we're here for. That's what Nermeen and Sanaa have come in for. So come on either Facebook, leave a message, a comment, or on YouTube on Ramadan.fm 87.7. Give us a call at our studio on 0116 482206, or send us a WhatsApp message on 077 488 55055. That's 077 488 55055. Nermeen, over to you.
I think, as Sanaa was saying, the diversity currently present within the UK eases a bit the heartbreaking feeling of having to leave home and coming here, maybe without family or friends. I was lucky enough that I was able to make friends with people here from the UK within the first few months. I've been welcomed into their home. I've been supported personally and professionally as well. And I think this is something that makes a lot of people kind of question their decision after coming to the UK. Should I continue to work here? Should I live here? Would I be socially supported enough, or would I be a one-man island working here? And I was lucky enough that I was accepted, and I was welcomed as well. Maybe not everyone would get that acceptance quite fast, but it does come in time. You just need to give yourself the opportunity to meet people and to open up to them. And then you're not going to be alone anymore.
So,
yes, Dr. I just want to add one thing. The IMG community here is very strong.
Yes, that is true.
You can reach out to them. They would I have an iftar coming up, like just for an example, like there are people who are like, come and we'll sit with us, like they open their homes, and they're always there. So if you are like, oh my god, I'm gonna come here and I won't have anyone to like guide me, that is not true. The IMG community over here is very strong, no matter where you are rotating within the UK.
Well, that's really, really pleasing to hear. And again, to our listeners and our IMGs who are here, obviously that's a big shout out for you guys, and well done for being so supportive towards our doctors who come from all over the world, our trainees, and the support that is provided is absolutely phenomenal. I'm witness to some of the the social platforms which have been set up, which I know that Sanaa and Nermeen are both very active on, and the kind of support that is provided on these platforms, which is excellent. So how was it, Sanaa? I'll stay with you for the moment. Tell me a little bit about leaving your family behind, because I know a lot of doctors want to. That might be a little bit of reluctance for them, which is a genuine reason, isn't it? About coming to an alien environment, coming to the UK, especially for those people who come round about September, October, November time, when it gets really, really dark and wet and grey here, and leaving family behind in places like Pakistan and Egypt, where it's warmer, it's more colourful, if you like, and you've got the support of family. So from that aspect, how has it been for you?
No, honestly, I was trying to escape Karachi's weather. Just putting it out there. I did that heat is something I can't tolerate. However, leaving your family behind, yes, that's true. That is something that's a part and parcel of your journey. That's gonna happen. However, can I just share something? I had a personal emergency sometime in September, family emergency sometime in September last year, and the trust was so supportive. I just had to give them a call. I was like, this is happening in my family. I need to go back home tomorrow, the first flight that I can get. And my supervisor was like, go back home, tell us whatever you need, and we'll try and provide you with that, and we'll try and support you. And throughout my stay in Pakistan, I would get messages from all of them asking, just checking up on me if, I'm doing fine. So what I'm trying to say is that the support you're going to get from the professionals here is again, amazing. Yeah, but coming back to your question, leaving family comes with it. And unfortunately, that's something we can't do much about. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's really important, isn't it, Sanaa? That despite missing your family, if you know that the new adopted country that you've decided or chosen to settle in as a trainee, if you know that they're extremely supportive, especially when things go a bit pear-shaped back home, or there are worries or concerns and you have to fly back in a jiffy, but they also know that people are concerned back in the UK and asking about you and looking after you, what difference that makes. It's a huge difference, isn't it? Nermeen, the same question to yourself. So how has it been for you from homesickness, coming to the UK, from a weather perspective, from a, leaving family behind? How's it been for you, Nermeen?
From weather perspective, I keep saying it to everyone. I'm with Sanaa on this. I cannot tolerate the heat. I wouldn't mind having it snow and rain every single day here in the UK, but heat is absolutely a no for me. So I'm not missing the weather, to be honest. But I do miss my family, and I do miss my friends as well. And in the first few months, it was quite hard. I kept questioning it. Is it worth it? Feeling homesick, wanting to go out with friends. And at the time, I didn't have that much friends. But it was a joint effort between me and them on the other side. Social media has done a marvelous job in the past few years. I ring my mom just with the phone, and we were there talking for an hour, my friends as well. And I might have felt homesick, but somehow I managed to build a family at work as well, whether it's with the junior doctors or the staff in the hospital. Things get balanced at some point, and we do get to go back home within leave. With emergencies, we're very supported. As Sanaa mentioned, if you do get to have a family emergency, you're supported enough that you need to go back, do what you need to do, make sure your family is safe, and then come back to us. So it comes with having to move out. It comes with trying to seek a career here, but it can be balanced at one level or the other.
We've just lost Nermeen's voice there. Can you hear me, Nermeen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay, keep speaking, Nermeen.
As I was saying, it gets balanced at some point. You might be able to even bring your family here to visit you at some point. Things kind of get there is working progress here on supporting the NHS with their families, and the support that we get from the trust, as I said, with Sanaa, like for family emergencies and stuff. You kind of ease into it at some point, and I don't want to say that you make peace with it, because you're always going to be homesick, you're always going to miss your family, but it doesn't have that much stress and that much weight to you to still keep questioning, should you follow your career here? Once you find that balance, you'd be able to prosper within your personal development and your professional as well.
Thank you very much, Nermeen. We have a few comments on our chat line, and thank you, Dr. Sanaa Latif. You've responded to Wardana Shahnawaz's earlier question by saying, obviously, a PLAB is a must if you're coming to the UK. And then we've also got a nice comment from Dr. Hanif Sumro, and he's saying, always good to see Dr. Shahid Latif, and hats off to the dedication to help professionals, particularly the IMGs, as well as people in generally at various levels. And I am sure both guests will also vouch for this statement. Thank you, very kind of you, Hanif. Thank you very much for that lovely comment. And it's nice to hear that on a Sunday morning on the second day of Ramadan. So thank you very much for your kind comments. Okay, thank you, Nermeen. Thank you for that. Again, I will just remind, we are in the last 8 minutes of our show, and I will still remind our listeners to please participate, join in on Ramadan.fm, which is on 87.7 FM, which is on Facebook and on YouTube as well. And you are welcome to call into our studio on 0116 482206, or send us a WhatsApp message if you find that easier and you don't want to talk to us and you want to send a message, which some of you already have, on 0774885555. Okay, so let's go back to our esteemed guests and further the questions. And the next question I would really ask Nermeen, what have been the downsides? What do you think from your experience so far working in the UK and the NHS? What do you think there is a lack of, and what do you feel that, okay, let's divide this into 3 parts. What do you feel there is a lack of? What do you think might be better if it could improve? And could IMGs like yourself contribute towards that?
I think the thing I feel most is lacking right now is that we need more people. We need much more doctors to come to the UK to work here. And how the IMGs can work on that is by keeping faith that it will work out, whether your exams gets cancelled or things doesn't go according to plan from the first time. You are needed here. There are opportunities here, even if it doesn't look like it on the outer surface, it is there. I was hoping that, because the NHS can put more effort into easing the process for IMGs to get more jobs. I don't know what could be actually done, to be honest, but there has to be something, because everyone who works here get the feeling and knows that we need more doctors here. Everyone is welcome to join, but there is something missing in the middle. And I honestly don't know what we could do other than what me and Sanaa, the other IMGs, are doing, is supporting the IMGs back home, guiding them about their journey, telling them how to boost their CV and try to get a job here. But we need the NHS to work with us on this as well. And if we can get guidance from anyone working here, like you've provided me with guidance, and Sanaa as well, and even people back home in Pakistan and even in Egypt. And I think this is the kind of progress that we have at the moment, getting that support from consultants or registrars, anyone who does see that there is a place for people to come and work here, and we're kind of trying to make a bridge in the middle for people to cross over.
Thank you. I think, although you said you don't know what to do, but you've sort of already answered the question, and you've answered the question by saying that I don't know what to do. Well, you guys are already doing it, and here you are on a show, and I know that there is other work that you will be doing, and I'm also aware what you've highlighted, Nermeen, both you and Sanaa, by assisting by CV building, communication, some of the do's and don'ts. So you are already doing what he's saying is some of the challenges, and the challenges being the lack of resources, as you've highlighted already. Sanaa, similar question to yourself.
I think my answer is going to be very much similar to Nermeen's. NHS is severely understaffed, and that's something that we're struggling with. However, to focus on the other part of the question, is like, what do we bring? What do the IMGs bring to the table? I think we bring our diversity, we bring our values to it, and we just complete the system that way. I also believe that we are, because back home we're like seeing 50 patients in a go and stuff like that. I think we're very clinically and medically grounded, so we bring our skills and expertise to the system. So that's what we have to contribute. But yes, in terms of the problems, I think we need doctors, and that is why we're doing what we're doing, because we want to tell the IMGs that, look, there is place. Yes, it takes time. Yes, there are a lot of obstacles in the way, but we need you guys, and you guys need to come over.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Again, really, really helpful. We've got just a little bit of 3 minutes. I'm going to ask the next question, but if you can just spend around about 1 minute each, because we're going to have to wrap up. So Sanaa, let me stay with you. So why are IMGs? Tell us a little bit about myths and facts. Why are IMGs reluctant to come to the UK? In 1 minute, if you could, please.
Okay, so the first thing is, like I mentioned, people think that the practice over here is very strict, and that they would be scrutinized at every single step that they take. The practice is not going to be as easy and as natural as it is back home, which is not true. Yes, we have guidelines and protocols for everything, but you need to realize that these guidelines and protocols are actually, a layout on which you can base your practice. So and the support you're going to get over here is colossal. So it's not like you will be practicing alone and that people will be after you. It's not like that. The other thing is the financial aspect of things, that adds to the reluctancy. The reluctance. It's difficult to come here. There's a lot of finances involved, but I also want the IMGs to think and to consider that you do get a lot out of it as well. So it sort of balances. To just give you an idea, the amount that you will invest in your IELTS, your PLAB 1, PLAB 2, can just be compensated with the first salary of yours in the UK. So the financial aspect of things can be taken care of. The other thing is that people are reluctant because, again, about uprooting from their community, what they know, what's familiar, and coming to a totally different place. That's very scary for a few people. But what I would say is, if you plan on coming here, trust me, people over here are very welcoming. You'll get support, not just from the nationals over here, but also the IMG community. So, you'll be well protected. So yeah, that's, I think, those are the things.
Thank you, Sanaa. Yeah. No, that's really, really helpful. I'm just going to go to Nermeen as well. Nermeen, again, in 1 minute, if you could, because we just got about 1 minute, 20 seconds. Over to you, Nermeen.
I will go back to work-life balance. People think that coming here, you'd be overwhelmed with the work because they are looking for high standards from you. You have to pursue your career development. And the fact is that you'll have time. You're supported with time. You're supported with fun to work on yourself, to develop your career, and still maintain a life balance. You're not expected to work 24 up to 72 hours in one shot. It's not safe for you. It's not safe for the patients, and it doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't happen here. And when we do actually breach hours, we report it, and measures get taken in place to prevent it in the future as well. So you will have that balance. You will be able to make that career development here, and you will be supported with it.
Nermeen, I'm just going to have to cut you there if that's okay, because we've just got about 30 seconds left. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to both of you for giving that very rich discussion, and I really appreciate you taking time out on a Sunday morning. Thank you very much for both of you. So let's say thank you to both of our guests, Dr. Nermeen Ahmed and Dr. Sanaa Moledina, for joining us. You've been listening to Ramadan.fm, 87.7 FM. Thank you very much, and you will see me again on my next show next Sunday.